What is going on, everybody? We are back for an interview. I'm excited. I'm always excited for interviews. Always. Sometimes it takes us a while to get them. But we, and it was funny because the guy we have on today, actually, I think I reached out to you like back in November, if I'm not mistaken. I looked at our conversation we had and I was like, oh, I did reach out to you. Like, I think I reached out to you the first time Amy told me about you. And then I just never got the chance to follow up on it.
Yeah.
But we are here with Frankie Flynn, the Prince of Broadway. The Prince of Broadway. Why not the King? Why not the King? What happened?
I'm just a prince.
All right, Frankie. If you could, man, just introduce yourself to everyone who's watching, and so they kind of know a little bit of who you are, because they know us. So, they need to know you, though.
You said it all. I'm the Prince of Broadway, Frankie Flynn. I consider myself the new lead of sports entertainment, professional wrestling, whatever you want to call it. I've currently have been out of action due to an injury since October, but I'm healing up and getting ready to get back in the ring and do what I have to do.
All right. So let's just go a little bit into your story, because I am curious. Because I've always felt like professional wrestling is a hard business to get into, especially when it comes to moving up. And I think that's everybody's goal, is at least moving up from wherever you always want to move up, and no matter what you're doing, right? So how did you get started in the business? And and I guess we'll kind of alternate questions if we want to, Casey. But how did you get started in the business, and like what was the key to you not giving up? This is your dream. How did you not just never give up, John Cena?
Well, for me, I've always wanted to be a professional wrestler since I was a kid. It's something I watched with my father. It's one of the many few things that we get along when it comes to anything in general, and so it's just like for me. And then I always had the mindset that right out of high school, I was going to go to wrestling school, and I was going to become a professional wrestler. I graduated when I was 17, and you have to be 18 to start wrestling school. So that didn't pan out the way I kind of wanted it to. And then my mom suggested that I go to college, have a degree as a backup plan in case I did get injured. Now, I ended up going to college, finished that in theater, and then I just used the theater aspect of my life and brought it into what I do as a wrestler.
All right, Casey, you got a question for him?
So I know you were trained by Johnny Gargano, Candice LeRae. What was it like kind of training under them? Because I've heard, different stories about different trainers in the business. So you've heard some good, some bad. What's it like training under them?
Well, it was Johnny was more of the laid back. He had a few drills. He taught us the NXT drills that he learned while he was down there. And like Candice would have more of a game plan of like specific things that she wanted us to learn and do. And then once she became like a full-time trainer, we started learning more lucha and certain things that everyone just kind of uses to some form or fashion.
All right, I'm always curious. I want to be a journalist. So I want to write. I want to be on TV and everything. And once you get to a certain point, you start getting a following. You start getting people that love to see your work, and that's definitely something you see with professional wrestling. So what's it like to be Frankie Flynn? What's it like to be the Prince of Broadway? Like, is there like an aspect of stardom? You obviously you're an absolute intense. you know, and you probably wrestle for other companies, but I mean, you always have those fans who flock to you, who like what you do specifically. So, you know, what's it like being Frankie Flynn?
I mean, it's in a way kind of weird because I always see myself as just like a guy who just really enjoys wrestling and theater and tried to combine them in some form of fashion. But like kind of like the friendships and the brotherhood in a sense of like meeting everyone and just being able to like rely on so many different people and knowing them, randomly walking around and seeing someone that you've seen at a wrestling show or know from being in the locker room with or something like that, and it's like, oh, like I just saw this guy yesterday and now we're just like super cool. Like if it's at like a random like store or something, they'll help me out finding whatever I need, and it's like it's real cool.
Right. Now, I know you said you know you were in theater, so you kind of brought that into your gimmick. Was that just your idea, or did anyone else kind of work with you on it, or because I know some companies, some places, obviously the big WWE, you can't really come up with your own things, and other promotions I know kind of steer you in their direction. But did you just kind of come in and like, okay, I want to do this, or did anybody work with you or change anything about your gimmick at all?
Well, when we first started trying to figure out like who we are and like our characters and things of that nature, I wanted to essentially be a greaser. I love the musical Grease. I enjoyed Deuce and Domino. And like that was my mindset. I was going to be a greaser. So I referred to myself as the Thunderbird from Thunder Road. And I try to quote Fonz from the Happy Days, things of that nature, and kind of realized that wasn't really working. So next time we were working on promos and trying to figure things out, I just kind of but like a more creepier version of myself, and like I was the Riddler from Batman Forever, and like said all the world's a stage, things of that nature, and it just seemed like a better fit.
All right. I've always kind of wondered, kind of where do you see yourself kind of in the future now? Like maybe a year from now, maybe whatever. Like I know it's hard to predict the future. I mean, get your big old crystal ball out. But where do you see yourself in the future, or where do you want to be?
I think I've said this at other places, but the end goal in my mind would to be the wrestler for Japan. I love just the tradition and the respect that Japanese wrestling has, like New Japan and Noah and areas of that. But in a year, hopefully wrestling again, not injured.
It's a good answer. I like that.
Now I know we have been able to watch a bunch of your matches. I know Amy sent us a bunch of them. We've looked through the YouTubes and the internet. Kind of a two-part question: is there any match of yours that is kind of your favorite? And do you have any dream matches that you would, is there anyone that you would love to face that you haven't had a match with?
Cole Cabana, Chuck Taylor. One that will probably never happen is Jushin Thunder Liger, of course.
Nice.
Johnny. Like I never got to wrestle Johnny. I was in a tag match. Team faced his team, but that was about it. Favorite match, probably the best match. That's on there that features me is me and Kaplan. That's probably like it's a real good match. We go out there and we tell a story about him being a big burly man and me being a tiny guy who's trying to fight him, and he just won't stay down, and I won't stay down, killing me. But it's a good match. Sentimental wise, either my match with Cliff Compton, because I already mentioned I originally wanted to be a greaser. I love that, especially the spot where I got to do the Grease Lightning dance in the match. And then my tag match I had at last year's Absolution for AIW, where it was me and Eddie Kingston teaming up to take on BJ Whitmer and the Duke.
Nice.
All right. So is there any wrestler you've been starstruck by, like in the ring or maybe even in the locker room, or I guess vice versa? Like, I mean, has anyone ever been like, oh man, I really like your work. I really, appreciate what you've done.
When I met the Young Bucks, I was kind of afraid to talk to them. I will say that, like, everything that they've done in wrestling, like, they've just changed so much when it comes to professional wrestling. Scott Hall was one I felt real weird talking to, because like he watched me wrestle the night before, and then he came to an AIW show the next night, and was like complimenting me, and I was just like, oh, like I met you as a kid, and I like showed him the picture, and he just tweet it to him, and he'd retweet it, and that was essentially it.
Nice. Now, I know you said you grew up watching wrestling. Is there any wrestler either from the past or the present that you kind of inspired you, whether in the ring or kind of moveset wise? Is there anything that you take from anybody that you maybe looked up to growing up, or is it kind of just whatever you?
I mean, I definitely watch tape. I'm kind of watching it right now, actually, as I'm doing this. But yeah, I'm always trying to like watch and pick up different things and see different ways that other people do it. Shawn Michaels, of course, always like a top guy for me. Him, Sting, Chris Jericho, Jushin Thunder Liger, Alex Wright. Sound like a weird name, but I was a huge Alex Wright fan. I watched a lot of WCW, so like now as an adult, I'll try to like watch random WCW matches and just like be like, oh, that's cool. I don't remember that as a kid, like that, and then just kind of like take something and tweak it so that it's kind of like your own in a sense.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think I'll ever get get this chance to answer this question personally, so that's why I'm going to ask you. How difficult is it to adapt to other wrestlers' styles? Because you have different people, whether it be you have someone who's just starting out that you're trying to help out, but you also got your experienced guys. You got there's so many different not only styles but so many different experience levels. How do how hard is it to adapt to that?
I'd say it's hard, but it's probably as difficult as it could be. Situations. If I'm wrestling a bigger guy, I know that he's going to be the big strong powerhouse, and I'm just the itty bitty cruiserweight that he's going to throw around. But like if I'm facing someone else who's technical and high flying in certain things, and like certain things of that nature. I hope that helps answer your question. I'm not really certain if it did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that helps. All right, Casey, you got another one?
I got confused. I thought it was your turn again. We do this. So kind of for, people who want to get into the, business, who want to, train, kind of what for you was the toughest part of, learning wrestling? I know some people say, taking the bumps and the in-ring stuff. Some people say, getting, character down, because that's, for some people it's tough to do. What for you was kind of the toughest thing to kind of overcome?
For me personally, I'm usually a very shy person. Like when I've done theater in the past, I kind of insert myself into a character to the point where I don't see it as me; it's that character. So like I'm really shy and like kind of like stay back, don't really talk to a whole bunch of people. But when wrestling, I can be more out there, especially when it's just a character that's just me. Kind of like find myself in that sense and figure out like who I was to make sure that I could get noticed. So like maybe just getting noticed.
All right, nice.
Also, your neighbor Amy said hi, by the way.
I
How much do you critique wrestling when watching wrestling? So like whether it be at any level, whether it be kind of where you are now, whether it be at the highest level, or just starting out, like how much do you find yourself critiquing not only yourself while watching someone else, but those other people to try to help them out?
I feel like to an extent I hardly watch wrestling for entertainment anymore. Like when I'm watching tapes, a lot of times I have like a notebook or something of that nature with me, like my phone. I'll be like writing out different like spots and ideas, and then being like, oh, that worked or that didn't work. But if I did that, trying to think of a way, and then if there's just no possible way of it working, then it's just like, that's fine the way it was then, type deal. But I think to an extent, I do nothing but critique it, especially when it comes to like watching myself in the ring. I constantly look back at a tape and be like, oh, I didn't do that. There's no like that makes no sense for me to have done that, even if it did make perfect sense. Like me looking back at it on it now, dumb. But then like there's also sometimes where you just can't help but be a fan. We had a show for AIW for Gold, and there was a tag team match where it was 4 teams, and it was straight fire. Like it's just an incredible match. It had DJZ and Laredo Kid teaming together versus Colin Delaney and Cheech, who are to Infinity and Beyond, Kane and Gringo Loco, and 4th team, which I cannot think of. Oh, it was NES, which is Flip Kendrick and Facade, and they were just doing such cool stuff like constantly. There's no way that you can watch that and just be like, oh, well, that, and there's no story here, and you're just sitting there laughing and just like your jaw is dropped from just the stupidest stuff, but it's so cool looking.
Well, I mean, while we're on that, before Casey gets to his next question, what were your thoughts on the Will Ospreay Ricochet match? Since we're talking more of critiquing.
Yeah, I personally haven't watched all of it. I've seen highlights from it, and I'm like super behind when it comes to watching wrestling. But I really don't. I don't have Wi-Fi, so it usually ends up with me like going to my parents and trying to like, which doesn't always work the best for me. I mean, it is what it is. There's the way that wrestling has changed that is so great that you know that it's a form of entertainment and that it can do things of that nature in one side, and then at the same time have like Shibata go out there and kill somebody. But that's just how wrestling is. Wrestling is something that really can't be defined, in my opinion. It just changes constantly. It evolves. If that was a joke for evolve, and it evolves.
I caught your joke.
So, I know unfortunately you're working through an injury right now. Hopefully you'll be back. When you're not, injured, when you're wrestling more often, how often do you get to actually, sit down and maybe watch, when you have Wi-Fi, obviously, watch wrestling? Do you get to watch a lot, or is it?
I try my hardest to at least watch one match a day. Whether that's just like a DVD that I own that I've probably watched a million times, or like going and going somewhere and just watching it using someone else's Wi-Fi, or whatever it may be, I try to watch at least one match.
All right. I think I kind of got a two-part question for you, because this question kind of involves one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. And we'll get to that in a second. But how many different promotions have you wrestled for? And have you ever wrestled the Man Scout? I need to know.
I've been on a show with the Man Scout. I have not wrestled the Man Scout. The Man Scout.
Isn't he the greatest character of like the modern era? Besides you,
Besides me, he was pretty great. The show I wrestled, actually, the last show I was on before I got injured, where he faced Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham, who is a motivational speaker. And Dr. Daniel C. Rockingham has a pamphlet that tells you about his plans, his DCR program plan, which is dedication, confidence, and respect. And the Man Scout had the Scout book, and they were looking over it together, and they switched books, which was very intriguing because Man Scout finished way before Dr. Dan probably got to like page 10. But it was a great match. It was real good. Great show. Season of the Witch is the name of that one. It's available at Smart Mark Video. How many promotions I've worked for? That is a great question that I do not know off the top of my head. More than 5, I would say, but maybe less than 12.
Okay.
Somewhere
That's
around.
a good roundabout number.
Yeah.
Another kind of two-part question, similar to his. Is there any promotions that you haven't worked for that you would like to work for? And also, do you have like a favorite promotion? I know you said you like Japan and promotions out there. Do you have a favorite, or are there?
New Japan, clearly. I would love to work for New Japan. Whenever I get a chance, I try my hardest to watch New Japan wrestling, just because it's different. It's got a different feel. It's, as I said, it's taken more seriously. The fans respect it more, in my opinion. Not that the fans don't respect wrestling here or in the UK or anywhere else, but like they have a different perspective of it. I think they just kind of sit there, and if they enjoy something, they'll clap. But you don't hear them like trying to troll the guys while they're in the ring or any of that stuff. So New Japan's probably my favorite. I mean, everyone loves WWE.
Let's see. What's my next question? What is my next question?
They're different.
I guess I'm sort of thinking about going with WWE. Are you excited for WrestleMania? I mean, as a wrestler, as a wrestling fan, I know you may not get to watch it, but are you excited for it at least?
I'm gonna try my hardest to watch it. I might go party world and watch it with them. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I wish that I wasn't injured and maybe I would have made a trip down on to WrestleCon. Saw Joey Janela's Spring Break and all that. But I'll be here watching it somewhere, whether it's at a party or just at my mom's using their Wi-Fi. but yeah, like I'll be somewhere and I'll be watching it.
Now, kind of on WWE again. Do you? I know there's a lot of fans, especially the smarks who say, NXT is the only thing worth watching. The main roster is trash. Do you like one or the other, or do you kind of find good things on each? Because I know the main roster is getting a little bit better, but I still think people think in general NXT is the better product for wrestling, not just a soap opera with like 15 minutes of wrestling.
I mean, I personally feel like you can't have one without the other. I like them both, in the sense that the main roster is getting better. I like the idea that SmackDown's actually kind of seen as the better show, because for a while SmackDown was always seen as the number 2 show, and it really shouldn't be. It should be on the same level as a Monday Night Raw. But once again, you need them both. So like they're both doing good. It's just SmackDown's doing a better job at telling the stories, I think. If I had to choose like NXT or main roster, I kind of feel obligated to go to NXT because that's what Johnny is. NXT, they also like their stories that they tell are told differently as well. It depends on the way that they see their specific fans, I think. So for NXT, the smarky fans, as you referred to them, they're the ones probably tuning into NXT mainly. So they could be more, indie-esque style and like do certain things like that in NXT. But when it comes to WWE, it's not just, smarky fans, it's casual fans. It's people randomly tuning in, flipping through the channels, seeing what's on. Oh, what's this? I'm intrigued. Let's see what this is. And they've got to catch a lot of different people's eyes. For NXT, you're paying for the network, so you already know the kind of people who are most likely going to be tuning in to see that. Being on TV is completely different animal.
All right. What are your thoughts on? Because I feel like we're kind of wrapping up here. I think I got probably 2 more questions for you, just to kind of update you. But
yeah, one more.
what are your thoughts on? So like a lot of people give like guys like Roman Reigns, Nia Jax, Charlotte, people like that who have family in the business or have like certain connections that got them to the business maybe a little faster than someone else. And I feel like you're kind of on the grind. You're grinding, you're working hard. And like I've always said, no disrespect to anyone who comes through the Indies and claws their way up, because I respect them. But then again, I don't disrespect the people who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. what are your thoughts on that kind of, I guess, that assumption that, Reigns doesn't deserve it because he didn't work hard enough, or Nia Jax just is there because of her family, Charlotte in the same fashion?
I mean, I wouldn't say that they didn't work hard enough, definitely, because just trying to train and be a professional wrestler is hard work. I think I could see where some people would get off saying that, and I think that's personally because they want to see other people getting the pushes and the recognition that they're getting. People like Sami Zayn, like people want Sami Zayn to be like the guy. Yeah, and I just said the guy, and we're talking about Roman Reigns. But WWE sees Roman Reigns as the guy. Sami Zayn's a great wrestler, and he could easily be the next Daniel Bryan. But that will take time for the fans to get behind him. Man didn't win for the longest time, and even when he did win, there was like tag matches and stuff like that for a while. And then all that led to his big build. It takes a while for some people to be noticed, and I think that might be because of family. I'm not certain. I don't work there when I say that. But at the same time, you can't say that people are only getting what they're getting because of their family and things of that nature, because they worked hard.
Now, I know you obviously you live in the Cleveland area. Have you been able to work with any WWE coming in, or because I know they use a lot of indie guys for security guards and things like that. Have you been able to do that yet? I know a couple guys that we interviewed in the past have been on WWE, TNA, things like that. Have you been able to do anything like that yet?
No, I haven't been able to do any form of extra work yet. I also haven't updated my form to do extra work, mainly because I haven't had like a promo picture or any kind of like actual professional pictures of me since like I've grown the beard and the hair out again and things of that nature. But I need to get on that. And I'd love to do any form of extra work, whether it be like a squash match or squash match or whatever it is. But yeah, unfortunately, I haven't done anything yet.
All right. Now, where can people watch you? And do you ever come to Virginia? I mean, more importantly, but where can people watch you? If they're looking for you or if they happen to be in your area or whatever. Where can people watch Frankie Flynn?
I'm at every AIW show. I'm whether I'm wrestling or not. I'm there helping set up the ring, sell merchandise, doing something around of that nature there. Next Friday in Indiana at a university. I cannot remember the name of the university, unfortunately, but I'll be there. I'll be
Would
in
you
a
say the
battle
University
royal.
of Indiana?
It might be I'm not certain if it is. But it could be. I just don't know off the top of my head. I'll be in Nashville in the end of April 23rd. I'm part of SUPGRAPS, which is Southern Underground Professional Grapplers. I'm going to be part of their tournament to crown their first Bone Storm champion. I'm facing the Strong Style Pitbull, Brett Eisen, in round one. Moving on to future rounds and even I'll be at every AIW show. I'm usually at mega events, Mega Championship Wrestling, which is in like Elyria, Ohio. I'm usually there helping set up the ring and stuff. Watch me on YouTube. Buy Smart Mark videos. I'm one of those.
Last question before I guess we leave, unless Casey has one. Do you do you have like, is there like a plan for you for maybe going to the next level or taking that next step? Do you have a plan already, kind of that you're hoping it goes? You know, obviously it can go different ways, but is there like a plan that you have or a plan that you're hoping for, maybe?
Right now, my biggest like mindset when it comes to my plan is just trying to make sure I'm 100% healthy. Few matches over the past couple months. Far, there still feels like weird from time to time, unfortunately. So that's just like my main focus is try to get my shoulder back to its normal strength and just get back out there and going.
All right, Casey, any questions before we leave the good people?
I think that's it.
All right. Well, that was fun. I always enjoy interviews. We had the Prince of Broadway, man. I mean, like, I don't think we ever had a Prince on the show. I really don't. I don't think we ever had a Prince on the show. But you know, I definitely enjoyed it. Always enjoy talking to any wrestlers in general. Anyway, I get excited for it. I get all hypey hype. You know, if that's a word, it's probably not. But you know, we'll see you guys next time. I want to thank Frankie Flynn again. Shout out your Twitter and Facebook and everything. Like, shout yourself out, man.
On Facebook, just Frankie. On Twitter is at Frank the letter E Fantastic. That is also my Snapchat and my Instagram. The letter E is not capitalized. It's just wouldn't let me write Frankie Fantastic. Said it was one letter too long, so I got rid of the I. I thought it'd be clever. Yeah.
That's what I thought when I saw it. So, so you did your job. But once again, thanks, Frankie. We appreciate it as usual. If you know of anybody who wants to talk to us, feel free. If you ever want to come back, let us know. You know, let us know. We're always available. You know, but you know, we'll see you guys next time for our next interview, next show, whatever. On the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant classic.